again, I'm not reading any chats or anything. If you want to ask a question, if you don't want to speak, but you could type a question in the Twitch chat, I'll read that. So this next fight is Gluth. Note that you're running into a tunnel here, and you're taking nature damage while you're in the tunnel. So you could pop a nature protection potion before you pull, because if you don't, then everybody in the raid will start the fight with 80% health, and while that's not going to kill anybody, it does make it more difficult for the tank to pick up the boss and bring him into position, because as soon as everybody falls down, the healers will start to heal the raid up to full, and that's going to cause a lot of threat, and they might over aggro from the boss by just healing the raid up to full health. So in order to not give that problem to the tanks, everybody could use a nature protection potion, and then we don't have that over aggro issue to worry about. So don't fall in the hole. And now, once you enter the room, the fight is on. So there's no resurrecting in here. Once you fall into here, it's a corpse run if it's a wipe. So first things first, the boss is getting pulled into the other side of the room. So this was Patchwork, and then we got Gropolis, and now we're into this room over here. You could just pop a major health potion. I guess so, but the thing is that you would like to have the potion cooldown ready in the fight, right? So if you use it at the start of the fight, it's going to be on cooldown, whereas the nature protection potion you could use before you pull and then have your potion cooldown ready in the fight. Okay, so we got the boss being tanked all the way here at the door. It seems like on this server they can line of sight the fear using this. I don't think that's going to work on Kronos. I don't think anybody did that on Kronos 1. I mean, of course, you could try it out, see if it works, but don't count on it. So we got an AoE fear happening every 20 seconds. That is good for the tanks. You're going to need 2 main tanks for this, because similar to Flankers in AK-40, the boss will put a Mortal Strike debuff stacking up onto the tank. So if you only have 1 tank, the stack's eventually going to go so high that the tank gets 0 healing. So you need a tank rotation on the boss, and the fear is going to help you rotate between the 2 tanks. So on 1 fear, 1 tank is using Berserker Rage to immune that fear, and on the next fear, the other tank is using Berserker Rage, and so forth. They're swapping using Berserker Rage on every second fear. And assuming that both of them are at the top of threat, then that should allow them to bounce the aggro back and forth this way. And that's how you survive the stacking Mortal Strike effect. That also means that all the melee on the boss will have to be aware that they need to be behind the second tank on threat, and not just below the first tank. The boss will also go into enrage every 10 seconds, which can be removed by the hunters doing the trank shots. So a lot of trank shots need to go out here. 2 hunters can get the job done, but if you have a trank resist, it's gonna be a mess. So 3 hunters is probably a good thing to have. So what we don't see here in this video, because this is a melee point of view, is what's going on at the opposite side of the room. Right? We're seeing what's going on here at the boss, but there's a whole different fight taking place at the other side of the room, which we're gonna see from this point of view. So this is a mage at the back, and we see here these 3 pits. There's gonna be a lot of zombies spawning from these pits. Every 10 seconds there's a zombie which needs to be picked up and kited in this area here at the other end of the room. These zombies have a lot of health. They cannot simply be killed, so they'll have to be kited. And we got a mage here, and we got a warrior with the piercing howl supporting, and we also got an earthbind totem here. On this fight, they have ice barrier, they have respect to frost for this fight. It can help, but it can also be done as fire. It's just a little bit more tricky. So more and more zombies are going to spawn during this fight, and You will simply have to kite them until the decimate happens. So the decimate happens 1 minute 45 seconds after pull. What it does is it puts everybody's health down to 5%, both the raid and the zombies. That means that the zombies actually become killable at this point, and that's the next step after the decimate. That is killing all of the zombies that have spawned. But for now, we're just kiting them and trying to survive. Whenever you take a hit from a zombie, you get a stacking debuff, which increases physical damage taken. And that means that one zombie is not going to be enough to kill you, but if many zombies hit you, eventually you will get one shot. So that means that even tanks cannot tank these zombies because they'll get the stacks and get killed eventually too. So kiting is the only way to go about handling these zombies. Now we have decimate coming in about 6 seconds. What is important to note here is that the tanks on the boss at the other side also get reduced to 5% health. So healers need to plan out a nature swiftness rotation so that they can get the tanks up to full health immediately after the decimate. When the decimate hits, everybody gets down to 5%, and so does the zombies. And another thing happens is that the zombies will reset all the threat. So they're no longer being kited by mages, they're no longer targeting anybody, they're instead going to move very slowly in the direction of the boss. Then the objective is to kill them. You can move up to them and attack them, they're not going to aggro you, so you can just go up and fight there. If they manage to reach the boss, then he's going to eat them and restore 5% of his health. That's why we want to keep the zombies as far away from the boss the whole fight, and make sure that we kill all of them after the decimate before they reach Gluth. At this point, after one decimate, we are going back to kiting zombies. Now we got the aggro from them again, and we're back to, we could call it phase 1, where it's basically just kiting zombies around. And while this is going on, all the melee are doing all the damage to Gluth and basically killing the boss. With the warlocks and with the spare mages, they're gonna kill the boss while we are taking care of this down here. And it's very likely that you're gonna kill the boss before the second decimate. If not, you're gonna be pretty close. So the enrage timer, nothing to worry about. You're not gonna see a third decimate on this fight. So any question about this? Right, so the decimate is like 5 seconds away and he's about to be dead too. But as you see actually here, a lot of zombies have moved up here. A lot of healers have gotten aggros from zombies. And part of the reason is not just that the kiters have dead, that could simply just do it on its own. If the kiters are dead, they're gonna move to the healers. But one thing I wanted to say is that after the decimate, the whole raid goes down to 5% health. And healing everybody back to full health is going to cause a lot of threat. And the new zombies that spawn after the decimate, they might go for the healers immediately because they're just dishing out so much healing, try to get everybody up back to full. So actually, if as a melee, it's a good idea to bandage yourself, or just as a healer, you don't have to heal everybody up. There's actually no raid damage going on. The only damage going out on this fight is from the zombies and from the boss himself. So if you're not over aggroing and if you're not kiting zombies, you should not be taking damage at all. So melee who get down to 5%, I would suggest don't heal them. They don't really need healing. Alright, so that's Gluth. And then we are on to